What is up, YouTube? So today we're gonna be doing this ConvertMyVideo box from TryHackMe. I'm doing this because I am preparing for my PNPT by TCM Security. That is the practical network penetration tester. And so I'm doing the Linux Prefix course by TCM Security, and they have this box as one of the capstone machines at the end of the course. And it was a pretty tough box. I'm not very experienced as of yet. I mean, I do know a couple of stuff, but it was a lot of blind injection, and I'm not very good with blind injection, but I got through it. And yeah, let's get into it. So do I have, okay, still have an hour. I guess I just need to add more time. I haven't submitted the flags because I just finished. Okay, I have an hour. I'll just add another. That is our IP. Okay, we can answer this at the end, because yeah, that's when we get the answers. Alright, so I already ran my scans. I've mentioned before I'm starting to do Rust scan first before Nmap, because it just brings up the ports quicker. I'm probably gonna write a script so that I can just then grab the ports and throw them into Nmap without having to type it all up manually. But we have two ports, 22 and 80, so now what we have to do is go to port 80, and I don't have the IP anymore, but we can go to port 80, and we can also do a go buster. I don't know if you can see though. Okay, I think that helps. I like using seg lists first, and then I'll use derb common. So I'll let this run while we look at the website. So this looks like a YouTube logo, right? So it's probably converting YouTube videos to MP3, right? If we click, is my burp suite on? No. If we click on this and click convert, it says oops, something went wrong. We can look at the source code. So we can look at the main.js, I hope. Yes, we can. So yeah, like I said, it's posting, right? And then this is probably the parameter. It looks like it's taking all of this and appending whatever we put in the convert box to this. So if put a 0, it's going to take this URL and put 0 at the end. Alright, nothing too interesting. I'd be looking for comments or something that developers might leave out there. Directories. This is the admin js temp. Usually if there's a temp folder, there's pretty interesting stuff, and we do not have access to this resource. Admin. Oh, that is juicy, but we do not have any credentials. So we could try a guess with like default stuff, but I can just tell you now that that is not going to work. Any other directory, server status, that doesn't give us a lot. You can try look at the JavaScript. It could be helpful in some instances for enumeration, but we cannot do that since it is forbidden. Okay, let's try throw this in burp suite and see what it looks like. Yeah, the parameter we talked about, YT URL, and it's taking everything. It's got URL encoding and putting the 0 at the end, and then we can throw that to the repeater. I did that with Control R and then Control Shift R to go to the repeater tab. So we can send that, and then this is what we get back. Errors. So what we'd like to do now is try do some code injection. So if you look at this, it's 568 bytes, right? And if we try pipe that to ls in backticks, if you put backticks in a Linux system, right, we identified that this is a Linux system, right? OS Linux. In a Linux system, if you put backticks in a input, it ignores everything and executes what's in the backticks first. So if we pipe that to ls, we can try see if the number 568 changes in the response. Since we know that 568 is an error, okay, it did change. But what changed? Error status, errors sh, not found. So it looks like something did happen. So we can try actually just remove everything else and inject ls. There we go. So something is happening. admin is not a value. Something is happening, and it is taking our input ls, and the output is blank though. The output is blank though. This was the tricky part, because then it didn't accept bad characters like your full stops, your plus signs, spaces, your hyphens. And so with a lot of googling, you will learn that there is this thing called an IFS. But see, come on. Right, it's an input field separator, and in our URL it works as this base. So if you wanted to try ls tag la, it wouldn't work, because firstly there's the bad character, the hyphen, and then as you can see it's not reading anything after ls, right? So the way you could do this is using this input field separator, like that, $, curly braces, and then that works as the space. You try it again, but it's not gonna work. But as you can see, it got everything, including the hyphen, but our output is minimal because of the bad character. It's probably taking it as a bad character. We can try URL encoded with Control U, and no, it cannot be URL encoded. So we could try other commands like pinging the local host, which is something you should always do. 1.0.0.1. That came back really quick. Or we could ping ourselves. Let's try that. Are there any other directories? I guess not. It's just these directories. We could try run another word list on this, but it's the same directories, and this is the path we're supposed to go down. So sudo tcp dump tag I eth0 icmp. So this is to listen for traffic, and I do not know what our IP address is. That is our IP address. So if this works, and I'm forgetting about the IFS, like I said, silly me. If this works, we should see it come through here. And it seems like it's taking a long time, so it probably did run, but maybe there's a firewall in place preventing traffic outwards. I assume. We could try more commands to inject blindly, like a wget maybe. So we could get if we're gonna get something and it works, we could try reverse one-liner. Pentester monkey, where are you? There we go. So pentester monkey, I don't know why I call it pentester monkey. Let's grab our IP address. And I'll change this to 9001. That's just my favorite port to get my shells at. So we'll touch, we'll make this, yeah, bash. We need bash, because if we are able to run it on the system, it can connect back, and we got a bash one-liner anyway. So we have our shell here, and we will run a web server on port 80 and try see if we can get this thing to connect to us. So we shall wget hands crossed. Oh, it did work. So as you can see, it got the reverse.sh. So now that we know that it did get it without erroring, right? And you can see we got some output here. We can try change the permissions of the file, since we know that it is in the system in the current directory we are working in. So we chmod with our ifs still. Chmod plus x. So this is not gonna work because of the bad characters, but another way to change file permissions, as you should know, would be to use numbers. So we could try chmod 777 our rev shell, right? Hoping that worked. Since this is blind injection, we could now try set up a netcat listener. One thing I've also learned is that whenever you know you're supposed to use a web server, you should put it in its own tab so that you can use it again over and over if you need to get stuff again. That's probably gonna happen later. So I've been using pwncat to cache my shells, and it's really good because then I don't have to like retype a lot of stuff if I press Ctrl+C by mistake and it spawns the TTY by itself. But I can't use this for the OCP, but I'm not there yet, so we're still doing the PMBT and it is allowed. It's fair game. So that is the port we'll be listening on, 9001. And we changed the permissions, and since we already know that we can't put a full stop, a period like this, we're gonna have to use bash to run it. So if you did not know, you could run bash and then the name of the file, but we need our ifs again as our space, and fingers crossed. That did not work. So I was looking at this again and I was wondering why it wasn't working, but it had worked the first time. it does not seem like we actually got the rev.sh when we requested it from our local server. I hadn't put that, and I hadn't noticed. That's why it didn't work, I guess. So we could try it one more time. Rev.sh, right? And then chmod rev.sh, and then we try to execute rev.sh, and there we go, it worked. And this just wait for Pwncat here. Control D to switch user, and we are data. Pwncat's really pretty, and it's got the colors. I love it. So you can start doing some manual enumeration, or you can run automated tools. What I learned was you could run a file, a script called pspy, right? So usually if we're doing some manual enumeration, what we try to do is we can cap the etsy cron tab, and you see some cron jobs that are running as root or other users, but in this case nothing was shown in the cron tab, right? And with pspy, it is a command line tool designed to snoop on processes without need for root permissions. It allows you to see commands run by other users, cron jobs, etc. as they execute. So it listens and it'll show you what processes and jobs may be running by root or any other user on the machine. But in this case, what I usually do with my manual enumeration is the fact that since we, if you remember, we didn't have access to photos like temp or admin and whatnot, right? We didn't have access to those. So what I would do first is look at these folders, right? As you can see, we have our temp folder, we have admin. So we can first go into admin. We can, oh, there's a flag. That is our first flag. I did not know that was where it would be. Right. What is the name of the secret folder? Is it admin? There we go. What is the user? Data. Really? How is that not data? What is the user to access this secret folder? What other users are there? DMV can't be, it doesn't have that long a name. We need someone with a shell. Root. Maybe it just doesn't want the hyphen. Really? We got the flag though. Let me try that. Okay, we can leave that for now. But like I was saying, with our manual enumeration, we could look at the folders we didn't have access to earlier, and that is inclusive of the temp folder. Right. And as you can see, there's a clean.sh so this clean.sh, it seems like it's just removing the folder downloads, and if you use this ps.py, like I said earlier, you can see that it is running. Or you could use psaux, which is something you should still do with your manual enumeration. As you can see, these are some of the commands we are running, and if you scroll up just a tad bit, you can see that there's a cron running, and that is probably it, the clean sh. And I can tell you now that that is what's running. So if we look at it again, we are the user data, and it is owned by data, so we could write to this file. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna get that bash one-liner, we're gonna echo this into clean.sh. Did this close properly? Okay, let's not do that. We can cat clean.sh, there we go, and we will put a netcat listener or bonecat, and we can reuse port 9001. That's just how it works. It won't be interfering with already established shell. That's just how Linux works. I forgot the explanation from one of Ipsek's videos. I forgot what he said, but if we wait for this, we should get a shell in a minute. I'll just pause and wait for it to get the shell. And as soon as I paused, the shell came through, and let's see what user we are. Control D. Oh my goodness, we are root, and that is the box, people. There we go. I hope you learned a couple of things. I sure did, as I prepare for my PMPT. Have a good day, people.